Jon Jones will be making his highly anticipated heavyweight debut on March 4th against Ciryl Gane, one of the most skilled heavyweights of all time. But let's take a look at what I regard as the best resume in the UFC. We're going to start with two of his lesser known opponents in Brandon Vera. Fresh off his dominating loss against Matt Hamill, Jon fought Brandon Vera with his first time headlining an UFC event. He defeated him by TKO in the first round. Brandon then went on to leave the UFC and join one championship where he became the heavyweight champion and defended the belt twice. Now we have Ryan Bader, who was undefeated before facing Jones. He lost by submission in the second round. After that, Bader went on to become the first fighter in Bellator history to become a two-division champ at the same time. Now that we got his lesser opponents out the way, we can start with Jon Jones' run through former UFC champions and future Hall of Famers, starting with Mauricio Shogun Rua, who is a former Pride middleweight Grand Prix champion, a former light heavyweight champion. He was fresh off gaining the knockout of the night against Lyoto Machida and was supposed to be defending his title against Rashad Evans, but Evans got a knee injury during training and forced him to pull out. This is when the UFC offered the title shot to his teammate Jon, and also where the beef between them started, but we will get to that later on in the video. This was Jon's first time headlining a pay-per-view event, and he made the most of it by dominating Shogun from the beginning to the end, beating him by TKO in the third round, making him the youngest UFC champion ever. Now we have Quentin Rampage Jackson. Beginning his career in 1999, he quickly gained a reputation for his knockout power and his wrestling skills. He competed in Pride Fighting Championship, where he competed in the 2003 and 2005 Pride Middleweight Grand Prix tournament, coming up one fight short of winning the whole thing. Jackson then joined the UFC in 2007 and won the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship by knocking out Chuck Liddell and defending it once against Dan Henderson. Jon faced him in 2011, and in an interview he admitted that he was scared to face Rampage, but once the fight started he outclassed him for 4 rounds and eventually becoming the first man to submit Rampage. Lyoto Machida had a successful career in various MMA organizations including the UFC and Bellator MMA. He began his career in 2003 and quickly gained a reputation for his elusive fighting style, which he called Machida Karate. He won the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship in 2009 and defended it once before losing it to Shogun. He fought Jon on December 10, 2011, and he was doing good catching Jones off guard with his speed, but eventually Jon caught him on the jaw and dropped him, leading Jon to secure what I believe is one of the best submissions in UFC history. Rashad Evans. He began his career in 2004 after appearing on the second season of the reality show The Ultimate Fighter. Evans quickly gained a reputation as a well-rounded fighter with knockout power and wrestling skills. He won the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship in 2008, defeating Forrest Griffin by TKO. The beef between Jon and Rashad began when Jon, who was a promising young fighter at the time, was brought in as a training partner for Evans at Greg Jackson Gym. Evans, a former UFC Light Heavyweight champion at the time, took Jones under his wing and helped him prepare for fights. However, tensions began to rise when Jon was offered a title shot against Shogun, who was scheduled to fight Evans for the championship. Evans was upset that Jon accepted the fight, feeling that he had been passed over for a title shot that he had earned. The situation became even more tense when Jon defeated Rua to become the new light heavyweight champion, effectively taking Evans' spot as the top contender. Evans and Jon had an anticipated grudge match in 2012 where Jon dominated Evans and won by unanimous decision. Vitor Belfort began his career in 1996 and quickly gained a reputation as a skilled striker with knockout power. Belfort won the UFC 12 heavyweight tournament at the age of 19, becoming the youngest fighter to win a UFC match. He later won the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship in 2004, defeating Randy Couture by TKO. He was known for his powerful punches and head kicks, which earned him the nickname The Phenom. He fought Jon in 2012 and almost finished Jon with an armbar, but Jon managed to escape, submitting him in the 4th round. Alexander Gustafsson began his career in 2007 and quickly gained a reputation as a skilled striker with excellent footwork and movement. Gustafsson has several notable victories in the UFC light heavyweight division, including wins over Shogun, Jimmy Manuwa, and Glover Teixeira. He is known for giving Daniel Cormier and Jon their hardest fights in the UFC, coming up short in both title bouts. He fought Jon in 2013, where he was stuffing Jon's takedowns and being quick with his feet and hands, piecing up Jon in the face. The back and forth affair led to Jon winning his first controversial controversial victory, with many fans believing that he lost that match. Jon ended up rematching him in 2018, dominating him and winning by ground and pound in the third round. Glover Teixeira began his career in 2002, fighting in various regional promotions before signing with the UFC in 2012. Teixeira quickly made a name for himself in the UFC with his impressive grappling skills and knockout power. He won his first 5 fights in the organization, including victories over well-known fighters such as Rampage Jackson and Ryan Bader. Teixeira earned a title shot against Jon Jones in 2014, but he was defeated by unanimous decision. Despite the setback, he continued to be a top contender in the light heavyweight division, earning victories over fighters such as Jared Cannonier, Rashad Evans, and eventually defeating Jan Blachowicz for the UFC light heavyweight belt, becoming the oldest first-time champion. Last but not least, we have his most decorated opponent and his most hated rival, Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier had a highly successful career in various MMA organizations, including the UFC. He began his career in 2009 after competing as an Olympic wrestler for the United States. Cormier gained a reputation as a skilled wrestler with knockout power and a strong work ethic. He won the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix in 2012, defeating Josh Barnett in the final, and later signed with the UFC. In the UFC, Cormier won the heavyweight championship in 2018, defeating Stipe Miocic by TKO. He also held the light heavyweight championship from 2015 to 2018, defeating fighters such as Anthony Johnson and Alexander Gustafsson. He was the first fighter to have both heavyweight and light heavyweight titles at the same time, defending both. The beef between Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones began in 2014 when Cormier announced his intentions to move down to light heavyweight division to challenge Jones for the title. In the lead up to their first fight, the two fighters engaged in a heated rivalry, with both trading insults and trash talk. Their first fight took place in 2015 with Jon winning by unanimous decision. The rivalry continued with Cormier winning the vacant light heavyweight title in Jon's absence and successfully defending it against several challengers. However, Jon returned in 2018 and defeated Cormier by knockout in that highly anticipated rematch. Well, there you have it, folks, the greatest resume in UFC history. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and again, I'll see you at the top. Peace.